So many of you may be wondering what the purpose of these images are. Did they catch your attention? If they did, that is the perfect indication that these pictures have done what the hook of your introductory paragraph serves to do. So what is a hook? A hook is simply an interesting word, phrase, or technique that draws the reader into your essay or story. As the images did before, the hook serves to catch the attention of the reader and have them interested in knowing more. The purpose of the hook is to introduce the beginning of your introduction paragraph. However, keep in mind that the hook must relate to the topic of your prompt. Remember that it is always the first sentence. And as I mentioned before, the hook serves to create interest for the reader. There are a variety of hooks that you can use in your introductory paragraph. The first type is a factual statement. The definition of this statement is quite self-explanatory. It is defined as a statement that can be proven or validated. For example, Coca-Cola would be green if the food colorant weren't added to it. This factual statement is very surprising, and if I read this statement at the beginning of an introductory paragraph, I would definitely be interested in reading more. Another type of hook is a what-if question. This hook is simply defined as a theoretical statement. For example, you could begin your paragraph with, "What if high school was not necessary?" For many readers, I'm sure that this question is not commonly considered. Therefore, a reader would be interested in learning more about this question. Next, a controversial statement serves to provoke disagreement between sides. One example could be, "Prayers should be allowed in public schools." The opposite side would state that prayers should not be allowed in public schools. But regardless of the argument chosen, both statements would provoke disagreement between opposite sides. A commonly used hook is a quotation statement, which is defined as a statement that is restated from an external source. For example, if you desired to quote Bill Gates as your hook, you could use the quote, "Technology is just a tool. In terms of getting the kids working together and motivating them, the teacher is most important." One of the rather striking hooks that you could use is a striking statistic. This type of hook is defined as an alarming or factual statement. Note that this type of hook has statistic in its name, so it must include quantitative data. For example, the CEO of McDonald's earns a salary of $9.5 million a year. The striking factor to this statistic is that the majority of us do not associate McDonald's with wealth, because, let's be honest, when I think of McDonald's, I think cheap. But what we may be surprised by is that one single person alone that directs the company of McDonald's earns more than what the average person earns in a lifetime. Lastly, an anecdote is defined as a very short story and can be used as your hook. For example, the other day I was chaperoning my son's class field trip to the zoo. What I thought would be a relaxing, enjoyable experience turned into a harrowing one. I never knew what havoc 26 first graders could cause. Because there is an evident progression of plot within a few sentences, this hook would be considered as an anecdote. Now you try. If you were given the prompt, "It has been said that first impressions are almost impossible to change. Based on your experiences, do you agree or disagree with the statement? Take a position on this issue. Support your response with reasons and specific examples." What hook would you use? If I were answering this prompt, I would agree with the statement and begin with a short story, also known as an anecdote. I would say, "On the first day of my 4th grade year at a new school, I saw a very timid girl that I would have never expected to speak to, and for weeks we did not say a word to each other, so my impression of her stayed the same. However, one day when I was alone on the swings of the school playground, she approached me and said, 'Hi, how do you like this school so far?' From that point forward, we constantly talked, and to this day, I can proudly call her my best friend."